Alrighty, now for the power. Let's see here. I'll put myself into the picture a little bit. Man, it's still just such a bad camera angle. I mean, you can see this really good. So maybe that's enough. I don't know. Maybe that'll help. There we go. Okay. So now for this computer, there are up to 1600 watt power supplies. And 1600 watts is enormous. It's really quite a lot of power. And this one is near that. This is 1500 watts. Now, you might be asking why would I do this? Because if you think about it, a game machine and everything that let's say has big video cards in it and everything is or a video card, let's say the 50 series, which is rumored to take a shit ton of power. And then you've got your power of your motherboard and of your memory and your storage, and God forbid you have any of the old school stuff where it has motors and it spins. But anyway, the video cards, the CPU and the video cards are the biggest draws on this stuff. And so anyway, this is 1500 watts and it's modular, which means that I'm only going to plug in the cables to it that I'm actually going to use. I'm not going to, and I won't get rid of any of them that I don't use because I might use it for something later. My plans for this are that, this case is so heavy. Holy shit, this case has steel, And anyway, my plans for this are that we're going to have a couple of video cards in here. I'm going to have at least, it's either going to be two 4070 Ti Supers or a 50 series card, not sure which, and a 4070 Ti Super. Now the 4070 Ti Supers, they recommend like 600 watts, but that's for the system. Its total usage, let's see, I looked it up before, was it about 200 at peak? It's not that high. So anyway, I will be able to put in two monster video cards in this, and then also fill out all the slots if I wanted to with for the storage and for the memory and all my fans and everything, and I could have a glorious blaze of lights in here too. I'm not gonna do that, don't worry. I don't like that shit. So anyway, this is from Corsair. I bought a couple of things from Corsair. This is one of them. And this also intrigued me. So there was some 1600 watt versions I looked at. And this one had something in it that made me think about it. And, this is, I guess I don't see it on here. I read it online then about the interface in software to where I'm going to be able to see the draw on each one of the power lines and know the efficiency of the power supply. Power supplies degrade over time. And so I don't know exactly how fast it is or whatnot, but I do know that the longer you use a power supply, the lower the output. Think of it as like a car radiator. Have you ever gotten a hole in your radiator, or have you ever gotten, had to replace a radiator in a car or whatnot? I mean, these days maybe it's not quite the same. But when I had my first cars, holy shit, I had two of them in a row I had to replace a radiator on them. And so, but it just gets old and it gets used up. So anyway, same thing with this. I have plenty of power. And then the last thing is, this is platinum certified. There are different certification levels, and there's like, I don't know, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, something like that. And anyway, platinum is near the highest, might be the highest. I don't remember. But it is a standard of consistency on the power and reliability, and it's a set of standards, so this is the highest, which means a couple of things. So I don't know whether or not how it means for its power regulation. What I mean by that is, I live in Florida, and we get thunderheads that move through, 60-mile-an-hour winds over a 30-minute period for, in the middle of a nice summer day. We get lightning strikes all over the place. We get power flickers. And can this handle it and be like a power, what is it? I have a couple of them. So I have UPSs. But some UPSs need ultra fast switching. And like my stream machine requires that I have a much more expensive UPS on it than I do on my game machine. And that's because it's just way more sensitive. I hope that this is not as sensitive, that it can actually handle that kind of stuff. So power conditioner, thank you, Nick Paw. I have a couple of power conditioners. If I need to, I will plug the power conditioner into the UPS, maybe in the hopes that it'll even it out. I don't really know. But anyway, so let's open this up. And so, safety and compliance information. Oh my, yeah, well, I'm sure we need it. This is their document that says that if I electrocute myself putting this in, they're not liable. It doesn't say that. I'm putting words in their mouth. All right, let's see here. What have we got here? Yeah, this is heavy. Okay. So when I said it was modular, there is all of the different plugins. And so one thing that's nice is that you notice here, I don't have all these cords hanging off of it, and it's all unwieldy and everything. So this right here is nice because I'll be able to mount this in, and then it will, I'll be able to then do each cord individually as needed. So, and then it's got something here. Let's see. Silent operation at low to moderate loads. In this mode, the fan will not spin. Right. So, and they probably put a sticker on here to make you read that before you plug it in, because they're worried that you're going to contact them and say, I think it's broken. The fan's not spinning. No, it's not broken. I am a fan of quiet, and so if I'm not doing something that is going to be really taxing load on this, the fan's not going to spin. Now, how loud is the fan? I don't know, but I'm not going to have to listen to it as much. Doesn't mean it's not going to be a thing. Oh my goodness, this is a whole nother box. Wow, holy cow. This is a power cord. Holy shit. Oh, it's special too. Damn it. I don't like special. You see the end plug on that? I bet you that if I had to replace this power cord here, they probably charge a shit ton for it. It's like a proprietary plug. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I mean, I suppose if the traditional plug type is not beefy enough to handle this, that this is what's required, then okay, that's fine. But if they're pulling an iPhone thing where we have a special plug so that you can't charge it off of anything else and we have to sell you that cable and that charger, I'm not a fan. This is a standard power cable for data centers. Oh, thank you, Furby Scalper. You know, it's been a lot of years since I worked in a data center. I've done a lot of work in data centers. This was not the standard back then, but if this is the standard now in data centers, then okay, I'm fine with that. It is a standard. And so I'm sure it's because it needs more power. This is a very thick gauge and everything. So this is the beefiest power cord that I own. And I would have known that if I had any servers. It's called C19C20. Okay. So very good. All right. Now we're not going to need to go through each one of these, but I've got all the cables here, and I imagine that, ooh, what's this? Tie downs. How nice. You know what? There's so many things that when you buy the cheapest, that you don't have the little things like the little tie downs that come with it. I mean, sure, they're cheap. You can go and get them yourself and everything. You know, but it's just nice that it comes with that. I don't have to search for stuff, and that's nice. All right. So, and this is a higher quality. This has very high ratings on Amazon. And in fact, exclamation point computer, if you're watching live, or there's a link in the description on YouTube. And so I just was looking at this. This is, I don't know if it's going to focus on it, but that's USB-C plug to what kind of looks like the old audio plugs for CD-ROM drives. But this isn't gonna. We're not putting a CD-ROM drive in it. In fact, there's no bays for that. I couldn't put one in there. There's no place in the front of this that I could put any drives. None. So these days, who even has those? Although I did hear that they've come out with new technology with DVDs that they are able to break the laser light into what, about 16 different colors now. And so then it can have all of these layers, and they now have like enormous amounts of data that they can put onto a DVD. And so they're like, maybe these are coming back into style. I don't know. Nowadays, with everybody having good internet connections and stuff, maybe not, but it was just interesting. All the data you could back up on the optical drives nowadays. So, all right, we will get into this later when we're hooking stuff up. And oh my God, I just went back in time, and I'm going to show you. Can anybody tell me what those plugs are for? Can we see them? Anyway, those 4 holes that are round. Oh my God. These are for 5¼ inch drives. No, not even SATA connectors. These are 5¼ inch drive connectors. Like floppy disk? Yeah, like the old floppy disks. Not even the little floppy disks. This is the older floppy disks and the old hard drives. Yeah. Wow. Going so old school there. I don't know that I would even be able to, yeah, IDE drives. But why? You know what? I don't know why. But who knows? I mean, could you honestly plug in like a 5¼ inch floppy drive into something like this? I'll bet you that there's no connectors on the motherboard for it. But nowadays you buy a USB version, and you could. You go look on Amazon. You will be surprised. You can buy CD-ROM drives. You can buy floppy disk drives. All of that on Amazon for like under 20 bucks each. And those of you who got the Eve 20th anniversary edition, didn't they give you a 3¼ inch disc in it or something like that? 3½-inch disc? Something like that. So anyway, yeah, I saw a bunch of talk about where do I get one of these drives so I can read it. And that is so CCP, trolling everybody. I mean, it's really great, but yes, totally trolling everybody. I approve. So, all right, we're going to put this somewhere. Let's see here. I don't know. I guess right here. So now, the first thing I think is going to be to figure out mounting this, and I've got. Okay, well, it's a traditional, 4 screw holes here with the back coming out. Okay, let's see what we got. I don't remember if this is a top mount or a bottom mount. It's mid. So, looks like it's right here. Now, oh, and there's some cables in here already. Well, I guess that would be because we've got all the buttons up here and everything. Which, by the way, I've got a bone to pick with Corsair on behalf of my cats. Because, is this Corsair? No. What is this case? Shit. All of a sudden I can't remember. Yeah, it's Corsair. The bone to pick is that the button's on top. And so are all these ports. And gosh darn it, I have cats and there's gonna be cat hair in there. And they're gonna stand on the button up here and they're gonna turn off my machine while I'm doing shit. Yeah, I know. Like, what can I say? All right, so there's cat hair on here. You can't, if you have pets, you can't get away from it. So, all right, let's see here. There are a couple of screw holes here. And, oh, okay, another interesting thing here. The screw doesn't come out once I unscrew it. And so, undo it. They just go a little floppy. Oh, look at that. Wow. Woo-wee, the whole thing just came right off. So this, by the way, is a filter over this whole thing. So this is holding in this portion, And then all of this is a filter. And this right here is this way because of the fans that could potentially be mounted here and don't get them up against the blades. Anyway, we'll get into that more later. Shall put that over there. And then, case is so freaking heavy. This is not the heaviest case I've got. I've got one that's even heavier, but this case is damn heavy. So, all right, let's look at this a little bit closer. Wow, what a nice view. I love the camera on my phone here. It does such a good job. Okay, so I've got all these plugs for all of the buttons and everything up here. And here is where the power supply is going to go. Now, I've just got to figure out here, when I put this in, am I going to be blocking anything here I'm going to need access to? And like this here, this is the back plate for the CPU cooler. So, God, what do you put in these? I don't even know what these are. Are these for like little SSD drives? SSD sleds. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So, oh, they probably screw in on here. And then, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, old school. I got 4 terabytes in that tiny little chip that we did in one of the previous videos. I have 3 more slots for that. Another one that's Gen 5. I don't think that I'm going to need to use any of these older style SSDs. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, all right, everything looks good here. Let me just size this up for how this is going to go in here. Oh, that is so weird. I don't know how I feel about this. All right, so this is the whole layout here. And then this one's kind of offset. Oh, I guess I can mount it either way in here. And then I look in this and see I was looking here, 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 and then here. But it looks like this actually made it so you can flip it upside down, which makes a lot more sense to have that fan on the outside, because I thought it was going to be on the inside here. I thought that was going to be a problem. Maybe it's not going to be a problem. So, yeah. All right. So I can put it up this way then. And yes, that will work. All right. So, fair enough. Yeah, I was a little worried that fan was going to be up against the other side, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to be good. So, all right. Now, I got to think about this. Do I screw this in now and then start running all the wires to everything? Or do I leave it unmounted so I have easy access to it to plug things in? I'm not sure. Let me see what it looks like up in here and whether or not I'll be able to access it easily. Yeah, I'll be able to access it easily. I'll have a little bit of a hard time reading some of this stuff, but I just put a flashlight on it and it'll be fine. So I elect that I mount this now. So there's some additional bracket for the PSU. Some cases come with it. Okay, so I do have, and maybe you can see this here, there's a lip here, which it sets on quite nicely. In fact, so I don't know if there's, you know, additional screw hole potential here, but you can see here that it's holding most all of the weight. So now, with that mentioned, there's no screw holes here, and I don't see any other place where I could actually put a mount. So we're just going to be screwing it in to the directly in the back, and that's what's going to hold it. And this will brace it, and then this will hold it in place. And unfamiliar with the specifics of this case? Yeah, so am I actually. Isn't that funny to say? Here I am building it, and yes, I'm unfamiliar with the specifics of this case too. So let me make sure that these screws are the same for this. I'm just going to thread one just a little bit to make sure. May not be. I kind of want to put this, I suppose I can, just don't slam it down on those. No, I'm not so sure. These screws, so these same ones that I was using, they're not the same for this. And boy, these are some smaller screws, but they're much smaller. See if it came with any screws here. Yes, I got the screws here. All right. There they are. Okay, since they gave me this handy little case here with stuff, there is another type of screw. I'm sure this is it. I'm going to test and make sure though. No. Okay, what's the trickery here? For PSU. That's what it says. But yet, they're not going in. I don't get it. Yeah, they are not going in. I mean, that one starts to go, but then it stops, meaning the threads aren't right. This just isn't right. Okay, what am I missing here? Those are the only screws that were in there. It literally says on it, 4 PSU. These are the screws right here. There's only 4 of them. Why will they not go into the holes? That doesn't make any sense to me. It wouldn't mount any other place. They have to go here. I don't want to force them in. Yeah, they just don't go. They are the correct screws, just a little tight. I mean, like, these just don't work at all. I mean, okay, so if I force it in right here, it feels like it's, I mean, like I'm going to be rethreading it. That's what it feels like. And I am not familiar with a design that is like, oh, you know, you got to rethread them. That is not normal. Yeah, these are just tight. It's not right. Okay. You know what? I think that it's actually the same thing as these other ones. Yeah, they are the same threads as these other ones I tried. I have some smaller threaded here stuff. This came with the case. Yeah, so this one right here came in the box with the power supply. It's just forcing a screw is not, it's never been, in my opinion, the right answer. You always regret it. See, that right there is at the point of having to force it. Yeah, and it shows on the screw too. Okay, let me try a different one of these screws in case it's just that one screw that's the problem. If it's just that one screw that's the problem, then problem's case solved. Nope. And they don't sit in there straight. Oh. It's barely threaded in and it's not sitting straight. That right here. And it's barely, like, I should be able to just really easily remove it. Okay, so I did. And you can kind of see, I know this is not meant to be taking images this close. But now you can see a little bit of a shiny on the end of the screw. And that's because it's rethreading. And so, I mean, I can get that one to stick in there. I can get that one to stick in there. It's because I've done these already. If these were screws that were considered to be, you know, like Loctite or something like that. It just doesn't, it just doesn't feel right. So, and like this one right here, you can see that it's not straight. It's not straight. So these are the screws that it says are for the power supply. So I was having the same problem with these other screws that are also the same thread. They're just not quite as, yeah, in fact, these are just the same thing. I'm not comfortable with forcing it. I mean, if that's the answer, that it needs to be forced there, then so be it. If that's what they're saying. But I can't say, yeah, I've never had this problem either. I can't say that I am comfortable with forcing the screws in. And this is where the screws go as well. This is where the screws go. And I've installed hundreds of power supplies. I mean, I haven't done any in a while, a few years. But prior to that, I've installed hundreds of power supplies. And I cannot explain why these screws don't want to go in. Now, does it feel like I could force them in? The answer is yes. Once I get it started, it feels like I could force it in. But I'm just not comfortable with that. Am I sure there's this? Yes, I'm sure. In fact, look. Can you read what that says? It says on the bag there, it says 4 PSU. This came out of the box with the power supply and had these 4 screws that I've been trying, only 4 screws. There's 4 holes that you do, and that's it. Only 4 screws. Oh, could they be anodized? So this isn't painted, this is anodized. You know, could it be that, you know, it's a little bit tight because of that? Yeah, it could be. I'm gonna look at the box, see if it offers any clues. Because God knows the safety guide doesn't. All right. Contents. It doesn't list the screws on the contents of the box. It just has the power supply unit and the cables. I don't really see anything else here. All right. Yeah, maybe they just need to be encouraged a little. I mean, I don't feel good about it though. I don't see any other choice, honestly, because these are very standard screws. These are not unstandard. They're very standard screws. I look at them and I recognize them. And so I guess I'm gonna put one in and we're gonna and we're gonna see what we got here. Oh fuck, this is so heavy. I say that every time I go to lift it. Actually, I don't even know how heavy this is, but it's heavy. All right, so now we are going to have fan out, and here are my 4 screws. Reload one here on my screwdriver. I'm afraid of this thing falling out here if I'm not, don't have my hand over there. Here, I'm gonna just have to do that by hand, I think.
Welcome to the Dragons.
Imblick_ just followed.
You put in a screw before I install it? Yeah, well, I think I don't want to do that. I don't want to have the... It doesn't want to go in. All right. Fuck me, man. I'm having to apply a lot of pressure to this to try and get that screw in. It just isn't right. It's just not right. I shouldn't have to apply that much pressure to anything that I install in here. Fucking thing. Damn beard. One screw in. Holy cow. Try a screw from another PC. It's a standard screw. I don't even know what to say about this. It's just so crazy. So this one, after I got it in halfway, was, it then went in the rest of the way fine. And so I've tried all 4 holes. Thank you for the suggestion. And so I'm going to go to another screw hole here. Yeah, once I break through, it's just, I have never encountered needing to do this on any computer build I've ever done before. And it causes me concern. I know these are the right screws though. These are the same type of screws on all the computers I've built for the last I don't know how many years for the power supply. They're not any different. It has to be like some sort of manufacturing defect or something. The amount of pressure I'm having to put on this to get them started is pretty insane. And so this one right here is the problem. It keeps going to the side when I'm trying to put it in. It's the last screw. I've got these other three in. I don't like how this is going. I think it's going to be just fine, but it hasn't been installed previously. Tightest damn screws. Ah. There we go. All right. I hope that, okay, that's in. I hope that the rest of my experience with this, and so all 4 screws are in. These are the ones supplied with the power supply. I hope that the rest of my experience with this power supply is much better than something as simple as screwing in a screw. I mean, you know, I had to push so hard, you know, I got a red spot here. I mean, whatever, but I'm just saying I had to use a lot of force, a lot of pressure. Like, if my wife were trying to put this in, my wife can screw in a screw, but she would have had to come to me to ask me to help her because of the force required. And that's just not right. So now I just had this thought. I'm like, oh shit, did I put it in the right orientation since it can go in both? It's in right. So, all right. Crazy, crazy. Yeah, I hope that is my only kind of negative or questionable experience with that power supply. Because if there's other shit like that, it would have me returning it. All right, that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next one.